Then let me properly present you Brother G Galloway. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear Brother Zafar and the Committee of the Islamic Society, the York District, the Lions of this society who stand guard over the interests of the Muslims of this community and engage so widely with other faiths and other people who live here. Honourable Joe Kilmartin, you know all members of Parliament like to call themselves and call each other honourable. Indeed, in my country, in my Parliament, some of them even call themselves right honourable. Although, as Oscar Wilde once said, the more they talked of their honour, the faster I counted the spoons. You don't know how lucky you are in Windsor to have Joe Kilmartin as your Member of Parliament. Because I have seen up close and personal many of the members of the Canadian Parliament. And if you listen to nothing else that I say this evening, please, brothers and sisters, listen to this. When the general election comes, and I hope it comes sooner rather than later, you have to raise the money, raise the manpower, mobilize the vote, so that Joe Kilmartin goes back to Parliament with a massive landslide majority to send a message to the dishonourable members who currently dominate that House. My comrade Carol of the United Steelworkers, a model of what a trade union should be. Militantly fighting, yes, to defend the interests day to day of its members and the broader working masses, but realizing that the world is round and that an injustice to anyone, anywhere, is an injustice that we must be capable of feeling and trembling with indignation about. My sister, Sandra, I couldn't but embrace her at the end of that stirring and short speech. That's the real voice of the Jewish people. That's the real voice of Judaism. Not these hyenas of the so-called Jewish, so-called defense, so-called league, a few dozen of whom may or may not still be standing across the road protesting this great gathering. In parenthesis, when they turned up at York University on Monday, God opened the skies and drenched them. And they've turned up tonight, and I don't know about you, but it feels like a pretty cold night to me. Far better to be in here with Sandra and with you. To my honourable legal team, Barbara and Hanayat, who did something few believed was possible. And by the way, They didn't do it for money. If they'd done it for money, if we paid them millions, it wouldn't have been enough. They did it for nothing, and they moved mountains, and they have held the Harper government under the waterline. To my comrades, Ali Mallah, James Clark, and all the others who organised this great campaign, the victory of which we celebrate this evening. To the Canadian Arab Federation, which we must make sure is the next great victory that we celebrate here in this centre. To all of you, my brothers and sisters, my comrades and my friends, Assalamu alaikum, peace be on all of you. I'm here to speak about Afghanistan, about Palestine, and about free speech. And I want to speak about the last one first, because that's the great victory that we are celebrating here. In a way, we must thank this fool, Jason Kenney, who thought that the Canadian people would accept being treated like children, being told what they could watch, what they could listen to, who they could hear. He thought that by banning me from Canada, that he would extinguish at least one of the fires that are beginning to burn in this country, fires which will light up the landscape. And in that light, we can all see the venality of this last-ditch, dead-end George W. Bush government here in Canada. Because that's what they are. This is the Alamo for them. This is the last redoubt of the discredited neocon fanatics who once ruled the world, but who are now on the run. They thought that they could ban us. But you know, any bookseller could have told Mr. Kenney that the book you try to ban always ends up on the bestseller list. And that's where we are now, and that's where we intend to stay. Because I'm not going to go away, you know. As a matter of fact, this sellout 10-city tour is not the beginning of the end. It's just the end of the beginning. I won't rest until we have held to account the ministers and their officials who are exposed in this 60-page judicial caning of Kenney. We'll make a good movie, you know, The Caning of Kenney. Ex-certificate, no doubt. But it is a caning that no other minister in any other democratic government in the world would have survived. Any other minister in any other democracy, savaged in the way the Honourable Judge savaged him across 60 pages, would, if he hadn't had the honour to immediately tender his resignation, would have been dismissed by the Prime Minister from office. And until that happens, this campaign goes on and on until victory. I never read the judgment without feeling a mounting sense of rage and indignation at the lies which these people told about me. They didn't just have me, by the way, as a supporter